I think it I think there's only I think it's a win-win. That's what I'm trying to say here. I think it can only be positive. The reason being is, as far as I heard, as far as I read, he's going to play for practically nothing. He's going to play for practically free. As utopic as that may sound, as incredible as that may sound, I think Barca has been very clear to Dani and said, "Look, man, we're not gonna. You can't really pay you. There's not a whole lot of kashish, and even less so for players that are closer to their the big 4-0 and are well into their 30s. Dani Alves is 38, of course, and I think he's accepted that. At least that's what they're saying, right? It's not officially confirmed yet, but if he does come back, he must have accepted the conditions. So he's not coming for the Murnies. And in a dressing room where we lack leadership, where we lack is where the morale is low. Let's be honest. Ninth, or what is it? What are we? No, we're 12th in the league now. I think we dropped out of the top 10. Where we need some positivity. We need some positive vibes. Here we go, the Jamaican accent now. Hear me now. We need the positive vibrations. And if anything, Dani Alves, who I actually met in person in a restaurant very randomly, was lovely. Had my son, Lorenzo, was, I think, two and a half, maybe three at the time, and sang the Barca anthem to him. You might remember that, Kian. I think I must have shared it on the pod. And he was lovely, and he was super friendly. So he definitely has that, right? He has the positivity, the positive vibrations that I think this team can need, and in fact, desperately needs. If anything, they need, if not a psychologist, somebody who can bring in leadership experience, but also positivity, and to get the mind frame changed, not just from the young players who are obviously ambitious and hungry and now growing up into, or want to grow up into, a team that wants to be successful, but particularly also that more experienced elderly players, or say the mid-cap players in the mid-20 age range, who have been at the club for a few years, your Frankie de Jongs, but haven't, or have only tasted, chaotic and quite dramatic experiences, the Champions League crashes I'm referring to, obviously. So I think he can bring a lot to the table. He can help somebody like Dest, Alejandro Balde, Alex Balde as well. And at the same time, some minutes, experience. Mind you, this is a player that's never been injured, or I don't want to say never, but has never suffered a grave injury. So we know he's a professional, as goofy and funny and as entertaining as he sometimes is, and as irritating as that sometimes is as well. For example, when you're receiving, a full 4-goal ass kicking, and on the same evening or the day after, you see, certain videos going up on social media that sort of lack empathy or sympathy for the moment of, the fans. You know what I'm referring to, right? So I think, and Kian, I would love to hear the rebuttal. Like I said, I get all of the cynical and say comical tweets and get them in there, I think, while you can, because there's obviously that side to this as well. But I think really from a sporting perspective, also an institutional perspective, this cannot go wrong. Because even if he doesn't play, even if it's a complete failure, even if he just sits on the bench, well, you're not paying this guy anything. You're not paying a transfer fee or a salary, or it's symbolic, let's say. And so you got nothing to lose.
Okay, so let's see where to start. First of all, you're ninth place, so stop pretending you're some kind of relegation.
It is still 9. Okay, well, we're clinging on to that.
You're at a very respectable ninth place clip. I think you're only 1 point back of a Europa League spot. So I think it'll be hard to find a Madridista who rates Dani Alves as highly as I do. Just from a legacy standpoint, from a greatness standpoint, in my opinion, I think he's the greatest right back to ever play the game. I think he's better than Cafu was. I think he's better than Javier Zanetti was, or whoever else you want to put there. I think his understanding of the game, his IQ, his talent, everything. It pains me to say that, because he's one of those players that I hate playing against. I would love to have on my team. I think he's incredibly irritable figure to play against, and off the field too. I think he was quite annoying too, but his greatness is there. So I will basically almost never say, even if he's like 60 years old, Dani Alves would be a bad signing. So I won't poke fun at it. It's actually hard for me to see this really being a harm to the team. As you said, I think he's mostly there for leadership reasons, a figure in the locker room. I think it's probably good for Sergiño Dest to get pointers from him. I see this as more of a coaching signing. Now, I'm not going to, I guess I won't say necessarily that he's not going to be a good player. I'm skeptical of the player side of things just because I haven't seen him play in God knows, ever since he left Europe, essentially. And that's not true. I actually watched him in the Olympics this summer, and I actually thought he was pretty good. I've never seen him play for Sao Paulo, so I don't know what that looks like. But I did watch him in the Olympics, and he was fine. So I don't hate it, and especially if he's going to come for peanuts, as you said. I haven't seen the financial details. I almost saw this news like half hour before the podcast. Anytime somebody brings back a legend at this stage of their career, it reminds me when the Sixers brought back Allen Iverson. How much does it really mean? How much will we really remember it? I don't know, but it's just kind of one of those sentimental things, I think.